Hello and welcome to Season 2, Episode 37 of Fabrically Speaking Live. I'm your host, Clare Rowley, and today I have a really fun Halloween project for everyone. You can use this to make a pillow, you can use it to make a wall hanging in your house, or a door decoration, which is what I am planning on using it for. Which is why I'm also using glow-in-the-dark thread on it. And if you didn't know there was such a thing as glow-in-the-dark thread, well, now you know there is. So how do we get it to show up the way we want it to? I mean, you can't, I guess you could embroider an entire thing with glow-in-the-dark thread, except for at night, the colors of the glow-in-the-dark thread change. So it wouldn't look the same as it does in normal light, as you see them sitting here on my table, as it will when it is dark. And I can't show you dark on TV. So if you go to creativefeet.com and see or click on the products link and then go to the thread link, like you see, what's going on? Oh no, what happened? Oh, I know what happened. I was just a little bit not getting what I'm doing here. So here's where we're at Creative Feet. And you go to Products, go to Thread. And when you're in Thread, you're going to see we do have a variety of different types of threads. And nylon lingerie thread would be good in the bobbin for this project in black, because that's primarily what I'm going to be doing is dark. And that is what I'll be using today. And then we have, as you go over here, Aurora. And the Aurora threads is what I'm going to be using to embroider some parts of this. This picture shows you how they look in the daylight. And then the bottom colors is what it looks like when it's dark. And it is really popular right now. So even though we just replenished our stock, we are running out of some of the colors. So if you want to do something for Halloween, know that we're ordering again tomorrow. So hello everybody. And let me make sure everything is working. It is. Yay. Hi, Helen Medley from Fort Smith, Arkansas, and Tina from Texas. Which part of Texas, Tina? And Sylvia Kurt from Kissimmee, Florida. I've been there before. Actually, I've kind of been all over. And anybody else? Hi, Mary B. And you are so sweet. Okay, it's all blurry. Why is it blurry? Am I going to have to restart that camera? Is this one blurry? Yeah. Let's see now if this camera goes back. It is, so I don't know what goes on with these cameras. It wouldn't be a Thursday if something... No, I shouldn't say that. Everything's going to go great today. Well, I got my little Halloween spirit going today, and... I'm so excited to do this project, and I don't know how far we'll get, but you know, it depends which form of applique I use as to how fast or how slow it will take me to stitch all the way around all of these different shapes. So I thought it might be fun to show you a variety of different applique techniques all in one project so you can see the differences and how you can speed them all up. And that will then encompass me using more than one of the creative feet. And if you are new to my channel and you like what you see, I sure hope you'll hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. And in addition to that, I also have a free online school called Create with Clare Rowley, and you'll find the links for that in the description and on all of the videos at my channel. All right. So I didn't cut anything out because, well, I was designing this up until about half an hour before I went live. And I kind of like the kitty. What do you guys think? You like his shape? I thought I'd make it a little quirky. And I'm going to have you guys help me choose, because I love it when you guys get involved, what color I make the moon. So I can make the moon, excuse me, I just coughed. I can make the moon pure white, or I can use this color, which is kind of a little bit of a creamy color with white running through it. Or there's this, which I think is really cool because it kind of looks like the striations that you see on the moon. What do you guys think? Pure white, creamy, or this? 1, 2, or 3. Type it in the chat so I know. So 1, 2, or 3. And then I've already picked out the cat's little ribbon for going on the hat. And I'm going to use the glow-in-the-dark thread for the eyes. Now, if you've ever tried to embroider on a black fabric and make a light color thread show up, you know that it's very, very difficult to get the thread to look pure. So that's where our cover-up comes into play here. And there are different colors of vinyl that is just the right texture and the right thickness so that you can embroider through them without having your needle grab it. And this is the white. So I'm going to use this white and I'm going to trace the eyes and the nose and the ear so that when I place when I go to embroider, I will actually be embroidering over this, and it's not going to look like I did it afterward. Everyone's just going to go, gosh, look at your embroidery. How did you get that color to pop so good on that black fabric? And you can go, well, you know, I'm just that good. So I'm going to cut out a little piece of this so that I'm ready. Because I first have to cut out the cat shape. And I was actually looking all over for my eyelash yarn. I have this yarn that looks like hair, and I was thinking that would be great to use for the cat, to go all the way around the cat with a really fuzzy yarn. But I did find some yarn, so this is what I'm leaning toward, to go all the way around the cat so that it kind of has a furry cat kind of feel to it. What do you think? And if you haven't done any yarn sewing before, and you don't have our sequins and ribbon foot, it might seem like it would be difficult to sew the yarn, but this is going to go inside of one of the guides, as we do offer 3 guides for this foot, so that you have the ability to sew thin yarns. And it's also great for elastic, by the way, and rickrack and ribbon, and I have been using these lately on my show, so if you haven't seen them yet, if you haven't seen the sequins and ribbon foot yet, it does attach to all sewing machines. All you need is a zigzag stitch to be able to do everything. So I'm going to trace this is very difficult to see, isn't it? So what I'm going to do is move all of this over a little bit, put this down, and turn on my Cutterpillar light tablet and see if I can't see better. Of course, it would help if I didn't have my fabric square under there, and if I didn't have all these lines. Thank you, Kim. Hi, Lynn. Hi, Sylvia. Hi, Sharon. All right, so I'm going to get this lined. This one actually comes with the Cutterpillar, the one with all the lines on it. Let me pull this one out. And now without all the lines on the tablet, lines on paper show up more. I'm hoping this helps. Yeah, boy, didn't that help. Well, you may not be able to see it as well as I can, but I can definitely see now the shape of that. And I'm not going to cut out these shapes. I'm going to draw around the shapes. And I am using, once again, an iron erase. You can use a water erasable pen as well. Now I can't see it at all. There we go. Here we go. So excited because I love mixing different techniques together. And this is supposed to be black. And this kitty does have kind of like an eyelash. There we go. What is on your sewing table, you guys? I love it when you share the projects that you're working on. And if you were in the school looking for the pumpkin pattern from last week, I'm sorry I was late on putting that in. I have been working on my novel, and I'm super excited because I'm really close to being able to publish. Here we go. Now the little nose. And this would be very difficult to applique a little pink nose like that with regular fabric. So I'm mixing embroidery with applique. And here I could actually use fabric, but I'm going to utilize as much of the glow-in-the-dark thread as I can. I didn't leave myself much room for the whiskers. There we go. His whiskers go to glow in the dark too, you guys, because I have white. And also we have this cream color and there's an ivory. So thinking maybe ivory, because I'm going to be placing, some of the whiskers are going to go over the moon. My elbow hits and turns off the switch all the time. I don't see you guys writing what's on your sewing table. Is the chat frozen? And yes, I am going to provide the pattern in the school. This is a large version of it, so I have the ability to print this size. I want to see if I can trace and see through this. Wouldn't that be something? Nope. Oh well. But rather than cut out this pattern, I can trace using this paper from last week. There we go. Now this piece is going to be on top. And then we have this piece here to cut out. So when I trace this piece, which I'm going to use a clean white piece of paper. You have a tote on your sewing table. You could do a tote out of this. Wouldn't that be cute? I love how the hat goes over the cat's eye. Kind of makes the cat look like a private eye. Now what I want to do is I want to add where, because this is going over the top, but this goes over that. So where that hat brim is, I want to take the fabric and come up and add about 1/4 of an inch and then come down. And this will all be the same fabric. And this is how you build your applique. So now we have this, and part of this goes beneath that. And I could be doing this with a different product instead of paper, which I should be doing. I should be using my Fusion Fuse and tracing on it because it has paper, and so you can draw on the paper and then the paper goes away. I'm not going to do that for the moon though. On the moon I'm going to use the Applique stabilizer. So I'm going to do a needle turn technique for the moon, so there won't be, although I could use the glow in the dark thread to go around the moon. I am so tempted to do that. So here we go, one more time. Aw, a first baby quilt. I showed my son's baby quilt. I never finished the binding. I had safety pins on the back side, and on one of the lives I showed how to sew the binding on. It only took me 35 years because Vincent's now 35. Oh, there's no stabilizer on part of this paper. Are you guys ready for Halloween? Getting in the spirit? I'm just going to lay this down and do them all. Hi, Shirley from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. So you have quilt blocks on your table, Lynn. That makes me think about my quilt blocks. There we go. So whenever one fabric's going to go on top of the other, you always want to have the bottom fabric come in, because otherwise you'll have raw edges to deal with. So we're going to cut one of those. If it was a pattern with lots of petals, I would put letters on the different pieces. So this would be like letter number A, or letter number, letter A. And then this piece here, well, that one, that's going to be part B. And this one, this one sits on top, so you don't have to add any seam allowance or any overlap. But you do want to make sure it's cut well. And now this will be C. Sometimes I have to be quiet when I do something. I do a better job when I trace if I don't talk while I do it. So once again, go up. Make sure it overlaps, or it will go beneath that piece. Tinkerbell just moaned. And this is, believe it or not, part of that. See, this is the cat's ear right here. So I'm going to want a color that's dark, but not the same exact fabric as the cat. And this is going to overlap beneath the cat. Why do I can't manage to not turn that off. So if I draw the cat's ear, I'm going to be giving you the pattern that doesn't have black, so you'll be able to see. Here we go. There I go again, going, here we go. And I don't need to draw that because that is going to be embroidered. So this is like an applique piece, but not. It's an embroidery applique piece. Now for the cat, which I think I printed him out all by himself. Yes, I'm going to give you the cat so you can have the cat with or without the hat, in case you're a cat person. Sorry if that paper's making a lot of noise. I haven't sewn the kitty, but we have rulers. And if you guys want, I can make a smaller version. This is your chance to ask me. Oops, oh, I just dropped something. That's no surprise for me either. Does help to put the ruler right side up. So he is 11 inches from toe to the top of the curve on the tail. And diagonally 13 inches. And let's see how wide. So he's 9.25 inches wide from the point of the ear to the point of the... So if you guys want a smaller version, let me know. Give me a thumbs up. I liked the size of this. I woke up this morning. I've been already planning to do something like this, but I really didn't have the design yet. This is just under the size of my Fuse and Fuse in its current size. However, if I tip it, I can fit it. And know that we're about to release bigger rolls, wider rolls of our Fuse and Fuse stabilizer. So on the cat, I'm going to, if I have enough length of yarn, I'm going to use the yarn. And I just keep hoping and wishing for that eyelash yarn to show itself, because I know I see it all the time. I have a lot of yarn. And I don't knit. I tried to knit. I took a class in knitting when I went to Durango with my daughter. I had a day where she was busy and I was staying downtown, so I went in and there was a yarn shop and there were a bunch of ladies knitting, and I went, I've always wanted to learn how to knit, and they said, join us. So I sat there and learned how to knit. And I really enjoyed the whole process. But I went too long after that to knit again, and then I messed up and dropped some stitches, and then I just gave up because I couldn't figure out how to pick up my stitches. So those of you who knit, I admire you. All right, there's that cat. So I actually also thought about making a spider, and I may design it. This is a pretty cool design that's in my head. The spider is self-sculptured, like has a fat 3-dimensional body on it, and then the legs we're going to be hairy with that yarn. It's partly why I didn't do the spider, because I couldn't find the yarn. I think it would be perfect, because you know how hairy spider legs are? I don't know if you know that, but some spiders have really hairy legs. I always try not to waste any of this, but we don't want to cut it all the way to the size. If you cut all the way to the size, then when you go to iron this onto your fabric, it's really hard to cut it to match. So I'm going to keep this kitty handy. Like the name of it, Hello Kitty. I thought that was cute. All right, so choosing the cat. I was thinking of using this. This is the actual flag fabric for the witch's hat because, well, they usually do have this shiny surface. So you can see how it reflects the light a lot. And I have plans of teaching you guys how to make some flags. Because wouldn't it be fun to make something for the yard and have it blow in the wind? And we do have flag manufacturers that use our Satinedge foot to construct their flags. And a technique that I came up with where you use 3 threads through the eye of one needle. Have any of you ever used more than one thread through the eye of a needle? Did you know you can? I'm so glad you enjoy my videos, Lynn. Thank you. 30 years of knitting. Well, I would be embarrassed to knit with you. So this is going to be this piece here, which isn't very big. Hey, I wasn't sure these scissors would cut fabric. Now, flag fabric does not like to be ironed, though, so it's going to be interesting. Notice that when I drew, that I gave myself space so that when I go to cut this piece out to use it, that I can go past that line. And I'm probably going to do this so that you guys can print on my actual Fuse and Fuse, because that's one of the really neat features of this product is that you can print on it with your inkjet printer. You just have to attach it to a piece of paper. We'll see if I can get away with it with this. I might have to make the cat smaller. So there's the cat. Still have to figure out which fabric to use for him. I was hoping I had velvet, because wouldn't that be cool? I'm sure I have some velvet somewhere. Have you ever tried to embroider over velvet? I think I have to make the cat out of velvet now. I wonder if I have some. Where would I have it? See, I didn't get all of what I needed to get done. But I do have an idea where it might be. So I'll probably just do a little quick step away, not yet, but soon, to see if I have it. Because now that I've said black velvet, you probably would like me to do that, wouldn't you? I did find fur, but this is really thick. Now that would just be extremely challenging, wouldn't it? I use double-sided tape, or also you can just, this is the paper side, so when you want to attach it to the paper to print it. You just take a piece of paper, and you know that's squared for your printer. This will be the test to see I think it's going to be too big. Yeah, it's too big. So I'll have to reduce it down so that it fits on an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. I'm going to try not to wait too long to finish the pattern. Probably get it done tomorrow. So then you would just cut a piece of the stick or the fuse and fuse and tape it with just tape onto the paper. You don't want to put anything on this side because this is the fusible side. And I don't have a roll of tape in here. Oh, I have this kind of tape. The most important edge to tape to the paper is the leading edge. So you would put this in your printer upside down. Your printer pulls it through as long as this whole edge, this whole top edge is secured, and maybe just a little bit on the bottom. That's all you really need to do. And then it just takes it right through the printer and you come out with it already printed out. And I will reverse the cat because I did not draw the cat reversed. I did that on purpose to kind of show you guys what you have to look out for. Hi, Alice. Bellevue, Washington. Well, I've been there. Okay. So here's what happens when you iron your applique pieces. If I had traced the cat upside down, then when I would be done, the cat, and you'll see in a second. I'm going to iron this to the fabric. I'm so tempted to do this. I've never done it. And I know how you guys love it when I think of something and then I go, all right, I'm going to do it. But I have to think it through now. So if I do the cat with this thick, because this is thick, this is 1/4 inch thick fur. If I make the cat furry, what I applique it onto has to be able to not only handle me stitching over that, on top of that, which I think I'm just going to have to do it. But I have to like extra stabilize the fabric. And I wanted to quilt before I did that. So now I'm thinking I should quilt this fabric before, or this is the designing process live. We could put maybe a cardboard piece inside of the construction of this quilt without a backing, and then put something firm in there, or have the, what's it called? It's not soft batting, it's thick and firm. It's the stuff we use for placemats and stuff. Timtex is one of the brands and it's fusible on both sides and it's crispy. So I think that would keep the wall hanging from going, oh, I got this heavy furry cat hanging on my face and I can't carry the weight of it. But quilting through that is not fun because you have to use a foot, and I prefer not to use a foot, as you know. Well, we're going to see. But the only way I'm going to get this done is if I do it, right? So I'm going to there's dog hair. Chase is all over the back of this. I have no idea how this is going to go. But if you can imagine embroidering over 1/4 inch thick fur, well, I'm evaluating how I'm going to do it. All right. I'm having fun. Are you guys having fun? Happy Thursday. I got to do the moon first because the cat is on top of the moon. But I am going to see if I can get the fuse and fuse to adhere to the back of fur. And of course, this isn't real fur, it's faux fur. That's fun to say. Faux fur. I'm a little wacky because I need to eat. Another normal occurrence here. So I have my shake and I'm going to take a sip while I get ready to do this. Here we go. I am going to be using the smallest octi-hoop to embroider the face, the eyes, and the nose, and the eyelashes. I'm going to mute it so you don't hear me sip it. You want to make sure that you don't use steam. And the reason is that the steam will push out from the paper and burn, and you're at risk of being burned. So you can see the steam pushing out. I have it off and it's still steamy. I used erasable. Don't do that, you guys. Oh no. Oh well, I have a little bit of fusible fur now. Aren't you guys glad I did that? What not to do. That's what not to do. Hey, but I know this. It does hold onto the fur. So, well, that was totally embarrassing. That means all of these are going to erase. I totally wasn't thinking that through. Oh my goodness. I got to trace it all with a marker. Have any of you ever done that? You know, if I put that in the freezer right now, the lines will come back. Should I give it a go? Should we see if I can save it? So just first, I'm going to show you that you can't see the lines at all, right? I'm going to go toss this in the freezer while I trace the rest of them. And I will be right back. Go ahead and chat with one another. I know I don't have to tell you guys to do that. Well, I'm not going to take all of that fur with me. I have really good scissors for fur. These are not them. So are any of you brave enough to applique with fur? Any of you scared of it? Can you imagine trying to get a satin stitch to show up on the edge of that? But we're not going to do that. Oh, fur gets everywhere. Okay, I'll be right back. Doesn't take long for it to show up. Pardon me, Chase boy. doesn't look like it worked, but I think it did. I just have to wear my magnifying glasses. So if you have ever been told that the friction pins come back after they get cold, now you can see how little it is. However, it does. And this did save me once before. I wasn't really trying to teach you that, but there is, let me see if you can see it on this camera. I don't know if you can see it. There is a faint line right there, so we'll give it a go. Anything to not waste. Whoops, so I can see it better when I tip it up. There's its tail. There it is. It's not a very pretty line because I have to hold it up sideways. But I think it'll do the job. If someone was watching and they didn't know what I did, they'd be like, wow, look at, she's just drawing on that and it's a cat. All of a sudden I heard in my head, I just said, here, kitty, kitty. This is a whole new perspective of that. Come on, show yourself. I can't wait to try this. I love it when I challenge myself live. It's a brave thing. Just turned on the Cutterpillar. I've done a lot with fur, but never appliqued. I don't think I've ever appliqued. 37 years. It's a lot of years to go through in my head to come up with that. Look at that. It's all right. Yay, yay. Are you guys happy for me? So I'm going to draw on these before I cut them out, or before I iron them. Do any of you have any questions? This is a good time to ask them because it's kind of mindless work for me. So after, by the way, if you're concerned about that ink coming back, after you wash it, it never comes back. And even like you can just use dish soap and on a rag and it will not come back. I have one hair like every week that tickles me. Are you guys enjoying the fall weather? I love sweater weather. Spring and fall, my two favorite seasons. I don't I know what this is. Oh, this is the ear. This is the hat, the under the hat. Sorry, I forgot to switch back to the camera showing you what I'm doing. So this is that section right here. And it has to be a different fabric, which is going to be really easy. than the cat, now that the cat's going to be fur. And so how am I going to get the hat to look like it's on top of, three-dimensionally, away from the fur, since the fur is so much thicker? I mean, the hat's going to want to like sink in. So I'm thinking that I may need to make the hat using needle turn applique instead and trapunto it. Another way to handle it would be for me to shave the cat right here a little bit. So I may do that. Thank you, Karen. You made a memory bear? Oh, you should share it in the school. All right. It's just a wall hanging, so I'm not gonna do too much because it's, you know, I'll be here until 8 o'clock tonight with you guys. Can't be doing that. And this is just the moon, so this I'm going to use the Applique stabilizer. Where'd I put it? I had it out. Oh, there it is. And Applique is a product line from my friend Rosa. She lives in Spain. And we have a whole shipment of her products that are arriving tomorrow. So if you've been waiting to order, or if you go to order after watching, know that it'll be back in soon. Oh, well, I dropped the cap. There it is. Where are those scissors? These should do all right. The one thing about fur is it's messy. And it tickles my nose. Thank you, Alice. I love my hat too. You know, I got this and it had a headband that went all the way around and it dug into the sides of my head. So I cut off the headband and I have these little hair clips that look like a hand. And that's how it's being held in my hair. So I don't have the headband on my, pushing into my temples. What is the most challenging fabric that you guys have worked with? Go ahead and write that in the chat. And remember, the more you the more you behave or write in the chat, the more YouTube thinks you're having a good time. And it helps us. Or is it some creators say, it feeds the algorithm? Why am I having so much trouble? Because it's fur? And if you see behind me 2 pumpkins sitting on the desk, that is from last week's Fabrically Speaking Live. And I did supply 3 different size pumpkin patterns for you guys. I think I gave you two leaf sizes. And in that I show how to use wire to make wire edge leaves so that you can shape them. And that was done with the Satinedge foot. Oh my goodness. I'm glad I didn't shape the cat really intricately, or I wouldn't be able to do this. Makes me think it would be kind of fun to make something for the dogs. Like make a dog bed and applique with fur in the dog bed. This is not minky fur. This is fur. Faux fur. And it has like a stretch backing. It's a little stretchy. But when you fuse it, it locks that stretch in the fabric. So this is a permanent fusible on both sides. That's why I call it fuse and fuse. This tail's kind of like a monkey. Lynn, are the trees starting to turn? My daughter got married in Durango, or above Durango, in October 1st. And oh my gosh, all the aspens, it's just astounding. The colors. Just stay hot for me. Thankfully, this is the slowest part to cut. If you're new to my channel, welcome to Fabrically Speaking Live, our weekly show that airs every Thursday at 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Mountain Standard Time is one of the time zones where we don't change our time during the fall. We don't fall back and we don't spring forward. So whatever time it is right now, I think the time changes right before Halloween. Am I right? Do any of you know? Do you fall back the week before Halloween? Or is it the week after? I think it's the week before. And they did that so kids could trick or treat. You know, it would stay light longer. All right. The hat does give the cat a sassy look, huh? So if we wear witches' hats, do we end up having a sassy look? Do I look a little sassy today with my little hat? I think it's the it reminds me of hats from like gumshoe movies. Women from like the I can't think of what I'm trying to say. It's too much fur. This is a messy project. And it's going to be backwards. This is what I wanted you guys to see. Because of how I traced it, the cat's backwards. So the hat's going to be, it's going to be hanging this way instead of that way. Oops, forgot to show you the top again. So see how it's backwards? And that's because I traced it on the wrong side of the stabilizer. Unless, all along, the cat was supposed to have his tail on the other side. Ugh, fur. Oh my goodness. What a challenge. However am I going to get thread to show up on top of that? Time to do the moon. Move that kitty out. Now, Applique stabilizer is different than what you just saw me use. This is fusible on one side and not on the other. And this might have been a better technique for the cat's hat, as I was mentioning. In fact, I really should change to this technique for the hat. So if I do that, and I'm still thinking, if I applique the whole thing in fur or in yarn, then it won't matter. So as I think this through, I'm going to explain what I'm thinking so that you're not just sitting there going, she's just thinking and keeping all those thoughts to herself. That's not very nice. So when you have that fur underneath, and if I were to try to do any kind of applique stitch, it would just not be successful. So if I do a design where the fabric is curved under, then I could even hand sew over that if I needed to, but we don't need to because Satinedge foot will let me do this. So I think I'm going to actually use the Applique technique for the hat as well, which is kind of not fun because you wanted to see. I can combine, I'll use like a satin stitch for the purple or a blanket stitch, and then I'll play around with it. I'll do different ones still because I wanted to give you more than one applique technique. All right, so it is the right thing to do to change my direction and go to the applique technique. Got fur on my tongue. And instead of using this, I'm going to use pencil to, do I need to? No, because the hat's black. But the stabilizer is going to stay inside. And while our fuse and fuse also stays inside, the paper doesn't. So when I write on the paper and then peel the paper off that black Sharpie marker, well, it just goes in the trash. Or actually, I save this paper and use it as pressing cloths because it doesn't stick to it. It works kind of like a Teflon pressing sheath, and it's just part of your purchase. So thinking it through, the brim of the hat. This is the brim of the hat. And we trace the exact actual size onto her stabilizer, and we cut the fabric bigger, and then we tuck it under afterward, and that way all the edges are folded under, and we are not then, it isn't as important to stitch on the edge of that fabric sitting on top of that fur. So that's the point of it. I really need to get something to make my chair move easier on the floor. Do I need to use a pencil? I don't need to use a pencil. I already decided that. She has pencils though, so say you wanted to use the stabilizer for a quilt and you're going to use a lot of white fabric. Oh, I am going to do that on the white fabric. See, I can't use the black marker for that. Where's her pencils? I have a feeling I don't have any pencils. And we're out until tomorrow. I'm going to use the iron erase. Yes, I'm going to use the iron erase this time. And I'm thinking it through. Because, am I thinking it through? Shoot. It has to be ironed. So, nope. Okay. Yes. I'm going to iron it to the fabric, and then I'm going to trace because it'll already be ironed to the fabric. And that is how I get around it. So that works. Hey, did you guys tell me which one? Hi, Veronica. It's okay if you're late. You know me, I'm still going and it'll be a while. So, the bright white fabric or the one that kind of looks like the moon? I'm just going to do the one that looks like the moon. Because it is a moon, so it's not white. So I'm going to iron a piece that's big enough to draw that circle on. It's amazing. I start out so neat and tidy and end up such a mess. Let's cut this a little bit down to size. Sorry for the noise. It's your first time watching, Sylvia? Well, I'm glad that you're enjoying yourself. A lot of people hide in the background and they watch without signing in and without chatting. So I wasn't sure if you had done that before. You get to actually be a part of what I do. A lot of times, especially Amy. Amy's not here yet. I know she was in the school earlier. No, Amy? I'm looking. She usually... Amy and Tina. Hi, Tina. Tend to be the most active or telling me what to do. I was going to say bossy, but that's not fair because I'm always asking you guys your opinion. So I just want to make sure I have a piece, and this stabilizer is valuable, so I try not to waste. So what I'm doing is I'm making sure that the fabric is bigger than the circle will be cut. I don't want it to move. Definitely easier with your fabric scissors. There we go. The iron's still hot. Now the shiny side is the fusible side. And this is going to be my background. So if you're wanting to make this, I suggest a dark blue to represent the night sky as your, what I call the main body of the actual project. And I'm going to fuse this to the wrong side. I have it on a cotton setting. On this stabilizer, I'm pushing steam through it because it is a porous stabilizer. It's not like paper. It doesn't have a smooth surface, so the steam will go through the fabric and into your ironing board. Now I can set this on top and cut through it. I really need to get some more pins. I want to start carrying those Teflon flat pins. I just don't use them very much, so I forget. If there's any product that you want us to carry that we don't currently carry, please email me or tell me in the school. Feel free to ask. All right, here we go. These are my good scissors. I'm doing it wrong. Did any of you yell? She's doing it wrong after all that work. Ugh. what I was supposed to do. Cut it bigger. I think I may get away with it. Ah. Gotta go past the stabilizer. This is the problem with doing 3 different applique techniques at once. Is they all have a different procedure. Just get over there. There we go. I may not get away with this. Let's see. Part of the moon goes behind the cat. So I am going to get away with it because the kitty sits in front of the moon. Yay! So here's the goal. Is I need to trace this circle. Oh, I should have done it first. All right, I am not getting away with this. The only way I can get away with this is if it's not permanently fused. Hey, hey. Look at that. I was able to peel it off. All this just because I don't have her pencils. This is why you want her pencils. I wonder if I can get away with just using a regular pencil. I got lucky. I think. Ugh. All right, got to trace the design onto the stabilizer first. This is why sometimes my show goes longer, because I make mistakes. I know some of you enjoy it when I make a mistake. It's not my favorite thing to do in life. I do need more counter space. And also just to have more time so that I can prepare before you guys watch me so I can look like I never make mistakes. Okay, so I'm just going to draw to make it a real nice circle. So what's unique about her pencils is that you can draw on the rough side of the stabilizer. If you've ever tried to use a pencil doing needle turn, also known as patchwork applique or hand applique or invisible applique is the term that I coined years ago in the 90s. I can't remember what I was saying, you guys. We use pencil because it's not permanent. Especially when you're working with light color fabrics. But most pencils will not write on the rough surface. Now I'll be able to cut this circle, and we want the stabilizer to be the exact size, exact shape of what we want the applique to be. So I made this a lot more complicated than it was supposed to be. But I keep getting away with my mistakes. Gotta love that. Mistakes are design opportunities, Mary, and they are also lessons learned. And around and round and round we go. There. If any of you have ever done needle turn applique with freezer paper, you could do something like that with this, because freezer paper is normally a bit challenging when you're working with smaller pieces, but when you're working with something this big, freezer paper could be used for needle turn. Sylvia, there are a lot of not shy people in the chat. And some of them are late. that are usually here every week. And they mess with me. And it's fun. It kind of feels like we're at a show and you're all hanging around my table. Okay, fusible side to the wrong side of the fabric, and now I have chase hair and fur on my moon. It's really, I'm surprised no one's picking on me. No one laughed at me for making mistakes. You're all so kind. Once again, I can push steam through. So you can tell it's permanent, but not totally permanent. I was able to peel it off. And that's probably why after you make a quilt using her stabilizer, despite the fact that the stabilizer stays inside, once the quilt is washed or even just manipulated a lot, sat on and stuff, it becomes undetectable inside of your quilt. Because if the stabilizer bonds so hard, like normal applique, of course, our fuse and fuse is undetectable left inside as well, but it has a different purpose. I know it can be confusing, all these different stabilizers that you're told to use. It's like, come on, you guys, stop coming up with stabilizers. Too many stabilizers. So now I'm going to cut the circle. Fur and batting. It's a fuzzy world, the sewing industry. So now what I want to do is cut 1/4 inch away from the stabilizer, and that's white. Turning on the light is definitely helpful so I can see. It's not super important that you maintain that 1/4 inch distance. I mean, a little bit more, a little bit less, you'll be all right. I should be using her scissors. These are making my hand cramp. I'm going to switch right now. These are the Applique scissors, which take all that strain away from across the top of your hand, which is what was happening. I was getting, my hand was starting to cramp. And these, if you drop the fabric, the scissors still have hold of the fabric, so you don't lose your place or you don't accidentally suddenly cut in because your other hand got sloppy or lazy. There's a couple things we're out of on the Cutterpillar line, but other things that were sold out are now back, and it's just the nature of things. I would definitely not wait to get too close to the holidays this year for anything. If you're wanting to buy something for Christmas for someone or yourself. And this is the Applique glue, which is designed for cotton or wool or rayon, natural fibers. Rayon does have some natural fibers in it. I don't know how well it would hold. So let's just say I haven't tried rayon. And on the actual stabilizer, I got to get my pad out or a piece of paper. Let's see. I thought I already had my notepad out. Every time I use her products, I can hear Rosa in my head saying, "Where's your notebook, Claire?" So I'll explain. Normally I have a notebook. I don't know where it is right now. And you open the notebook, and on one page, so pretend this is your notebook. So on one side, you actually use the glue because you're going to get glue all over the paper. You're not supposed to put it on the stabilizer. If you get it on it, it's okay, but you're supposed to glue on the fabric. So to glue on the fabric, you're going to kind of come off of the edge and onto the paper. So I'm going to go about that far. What's really unique about this glue is it stays moist longer. So some people get really frustrated, go, hey, it takes too long for it to dry. But that's the whole point. It gives you more time to manipulate the fabric so you're not having to add more glue. And now I'm going to get out her tools. These are the Applique rods. Where's my other one? Here it is. So one has a fork end on it, like your two fingers when you put down to hold fabric stable. And then if you pick one up, it allows you to spin your fabric but not lose where you are on your paper. You don't want to do the manipulating on the same paper that you glued on. So you go to the other notebook page and then you put that down. And this side has I call it a spatula kind of shape to it. It's flat and it helps you to scoop up the fabric. And the fork holds the fabric like that. And you just go around, and you might have been thinking I had to clip, but I don't have to, because this glue allows me to manipulate the fabric for a longer period of time. So I'm able to round, and the stabilizer, even though it's really lightweight, does have enough body to allow me to move the fabric to get that more nice rounded curve without having to clip the fabric. And the less you clip the fabric, the stronger your actual quilt will be, or whatever project you are doing. So remember, once again, glue on the fabric. Oops. Using a piece of paper that you're going to get dirty. Put your lid on. That's what Amy would be saying if she's in here. Put your lid on, Claire. So, Rosa is definitely a lot faster at this than I am. And she has turned 1/4 inch size little circles. There we go. And here we go, and here we go. Something I say now. I also recommend having a damp washcloth to wipe your hand and the tools off on, as they will get a little bit of the glue on it. Now get it off of there, because there's glue on there. And now we don't have to worry about getting the glue on the right side of the fabric. This is the part where I go, I should have designed something smaller. Why do I continually make projects that are big and they take longer? The scissors are serrated, yes. And she has two sizes, one for cutting your little shapes, the other for cutting larger pieces, and then teeny tiny ones for doing the snipping should you have to snip. But the really, really small ones do not have the 3 holes for your fingers. So see, I was able to put like a 10-inch section of glue, and it's still wet. Whereas other glue would already be dry, as it takes me this long to come around. And these tools are formed to be more comfortable for your hands, so you won't feel like you're holding something really small. Notice that when I hold them at an angle I don't hold them like this. And a lot of people try it that way when they first get them. So they go in your hand like drum. This is how you play the drums, you guys. Still wet. Isn't that amazing? So Debbie, you've used these? I would love to see a picture of what you've done with her products. That's what the school's all about, you guys, to brag. Start showing off. Okay, so no more glue. Now move this clean piece of paper out. On the fabric, I should be able to, yeah, well, at least go there. I kind of limit it to 10 inches, also partly because I tend to get stuff all over my sleeves if I get carried away. Do too big of a piece. One night I went out to dinner with Rosa and I get to the table and she throws about 20 quarter-inch size circles on the table and started laughing and looking at me to see my response. And I was like, you're insane. Because they were so teeny and they were like this. They were turned under. But she was just like going, see, that's what makes my product so awesome. The less we pick it up, the faster it goes and the easier it is on your body. Another thing to remember is that as I'm using her products, my elbows are resting on the table. As I'm always telling you, elbows down, shoulders relaxed. So you get to use her products that way as well. Elbows down, shoulders relaxed. You have the tip on here to be able to really maneuver those little folds. And I will show you. So there's a little fold right there and I can spread it out. You got the point on both sides. And this is how she gets those little tiny circles. If the fold is away from the edge, you should be okay. So I was still able to manipulate that. And now I can flatten it out. If the fold goes all the way to the edge, you don't have a smooth circle. Okay, I gotta glue the rest. You gotta leave, Brenda. You didn't sleep last night. Thank you, Brenda. I'm glad you liked the project, and I understand not getting sleep. Tinkerbell's got allergies, and she has been sneezing like all through the night and waking me up. And I am not complaining because I adore her. Did I not put it on there? I missed a spot. Definitely better to put it on the fabric so I can see better. Definitely the Cutterpillar helps as well. White on white. Now this may seem like really time consuming to do it this way. And maybe it would be quicker to use another form of applique, but the stitch that I get to use on this is further apart because the fabric edges are folded under. And the kitty's going to be in front of the moon. What a disaster. This is when I would take it to the bathroom and hairspray it to keep the fur from falling off as I'm working with it. Another thing you can do is use our liquid based, which is a water soluble stabilizer, because we really just need it to behave itself while we work with it, and afterward it can be free. This water soluble stabilizer in a bottle that's wet, and you can take it and kind of put it along the edges, and it will keep it from continuing to fall apart. It's a little messy while you're doing it though. Starch on the edges. I don't know what we said. Oh, you've done it with starch and freezer paper. So I'm doing this before I pull the paper off. And it will dry. Definitely should have a damp washcloth. I really just want to kind of shake off that tail. Another product that you could use is Fray Check, if you have that. But try not to get it anywhere you don't want it. This is water soluble, so we can take a damp washcloth and wipe it off if we get it on something. Are any of you going to try this? Make this project? Maybe not with fur, or maybe with fur. At very least, velvet. It's a Halloween kitty. And then I gotta see where the hat's gonna go over the cat's face. If you have a razor, like they have those little battery ones that can trim eyebrows, and you could use that to trim certain areas and take the fur away. Still got to see where the hat's going to go, but wherever that hat's going to go, I am going to take the fur down in that area. There's Amy. I talked about you. I said if Amy were here, she'd be telling me what to do. Welcome to the group. And we have some new people in here that have similar personalities to yours, so you guys should have fun getting to know one another. I'm going to take a sip and mute so you don't have to hear me slurp this. All right. We didn't really have any technical difficulties this week. I just messed up a couple times, and I got away with it, which is always fun. The cat's shedding, you guys. It's shedding season. I found my cap, Amy. The cap was missing for like 3 weeks, so it had rolled underneath a piece of furniture. So what I'm doing is trying to lock the fur and keep it from continuing to come apart till we get it fused down onto the fabric. I'm almost all the way around. So Mary, this is our liquid-based glue, and it's something I use a lot. And I will be using this as well for the Applique. Even though I've used Applique glue, now we're going to use our glue in conjunction with it. So this eliminates the need to pin things. It's fabulous. You just saw Tinkerbell? She gets herself all comfy again. And this is going to go on this. So now we have two pieces that are somewhat ready. The moon and the cat. Now I got to do the hat. It's going to be a fun thing on the table or on my door. Don't you think? I like the look of it. I like it being fur. See, the world, the universe is in charge. Or I like to say my angels are always guiding me. So today, the first thing I touched that was black in here was fur. And I went, well, that would be neat, but that would be hard. And so, well, it's always fun to show you how you can do things that you would consider challenging. So we're going to use this flag material for the hat, so it kind of looks like the vinyl witches hats. But I'm going to use the Applique technique because then I don't have to stitch all the way around it. We already discussed this, but I'm going over it again in my head. And so I already cut the shapes out using my Fuse and Fuse, but once I realized I had to use fur, I have opted to switch to the needle turn technique because you don't have to stitch all the way around it. This is the underside of the hat, and it won't be near the fur, or will it? The fur will be on top of it. So I am going to have this be the Fuse and Fuse. So the underside of the hat, and this will push it back behind the cat. What we're trying to do is pull the front of the hat that goes across the cat's face, and kind of push it out as best we can with what we have. So I need more of her stabilizer. Did I put it all away? No, here it is. It may not seem like a lot when you buy 1 yard of this, but it is quite a bit. Because it's a significantly wide. I think it's 27 inches wide. I really can't remember. It's on our website. It's also on the box. Let's see. And we're about to release it in 3-yard put-ups for a little bit of a break. It's not going to be in this box anymore starting tomorrow as well. They don't have the measurements on the box. Why not? Why not? Should ask Rosa. Why not, Rosa? I could check on the site. Okay. So this is going to be fused to that, but I certainly don't need to use that, have all of that. I can have it be a little bit outside. And this is the kind of stuff I save, these little pieces of my Fuse and Fuse, because sometimes you just need a little tiny piece of something. And now I'm going to get that iron hot again. And this is a nylon material, so I'm not going to keep the iron on it very long. This is the wrong side. Trying really to just get it on the paper first. I had the steam turned off. I thought, ah, with the Fuse and Fuse steam off, because it is a paper backing. And it's okay if you're using our Fuse and Fuse to move the iron, to actually iron like that on the surface of the paper, because the paper will not stretch and the fabric beneath it cannot stretch either. So I used the tip of the iron to get most of it, and now I'm going to lay it down. And it didn't burn, it didn't melt, so gotta love that. Now I'm actually going to cut to the edge of that line, because we're not doing needle turn. This is going to be raw edge applique. can't wait to do the sewing. Put it over where the kitty is. Now we need to do the bill of the hat. And this is the shape that I need to do for the top of the hat, which is the black fabric that I'm using. But I don't want this stabilizer. Or do I? Yeah, I can use this stabilizer for that. Because we only need the front of the bill. This is going to be above the cat. So I can go ahead and use this on there. Oh, there he is. I was like, where is the kitty? Because we could be looking at him while I'm doing this. There we go. So the needle turn applique part will be the gray part of the hat, which I've got to pick a fabric. I don't think I have gray flag fabric. There we go. Getting there. Yay. So it didn't burn at all. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to lay the iron down. Now you know that flag fabric is resilient and probably has a kind of treatment to keep it from having issues with heat, because flags go outside in the sun. It's hot. Woo! It was starting to have an issue. See how it's bowing? It curled. Ooh, now I'm like, what could we do with that? Ooh, we could use that for something, to have it curly like that. It's one of those beautiful accidents that make you think, what could we do with that? We could do something. I don't know what, but I'm going to try to never forget. What, the chat wasn't moving? It seems like it's moving there. Oh, goodness. Why isn't this chat working? I need the one closer to me to work. I can see that you asked. I can kind of read that far away. So Amy, yeah, how am I going to get the face on the fur? We're going to use our cover-up stabilizer. I already traced the face elements. And I'm doing it using an embroidery technique. It's going to be interesting. I have a feeling I'm not going to be done in 2 hours. I probably will get the applique part done and save the finalizing for next week, because we do that. So I actually get to eat dinner and stuff. For those of you who are new, I have gone as far as 6.5 hours on a show, and I don't do that to myself anymore. So this is the little hat. This is the underside of the hat on this side, because this is reversed. Because I was explaining that you should be tracing. Oops. Got to put the lid back on. I'm about to need it again. There it is. But hers doesn't dry out as fast as other glues as well. You do, however, need to put the cap on. So I'm going to check and see, do we have enough? This is what we're going to do. We're going to applique with yarn on the cat. And that, I'm either going to use the sequins and ribbon foot or the pearls and piping foot. I'll need to do the yarn before we do the whiskers. So laying this out was good because it helped me to see that. I need to think about that. So I have to applique the cat first. And if I have enough of this yarn, because I have just like a length of it, just want to make sure I have enough. Pretty sure that I do. But just in case, if I make it baggy. Da-da-da-dee-da-da. Definitely. Okay, definitely have enough for the kitty. So this is what we're going to use on the cat. And it's going to be a raised up stitch on that fur. And that's going to take very little time. I need to do this piece with Applique stabilizer. And I got to make sure I trace it the right way, which is the wrong way. I need to trace it the wrong way because I did the cat the wrong way. So if I trace it the right way, then I will be doing it the wrong way for this. Actually, oh, is that what let me close the chat and open the chat. Thank you, Amy. And in case you don't know who Amy is Better Days. I know her name, so I started calling her Amy. Since it's black fabric, oh, it's going to be gray, but it's okay. Uh-oh. Because it overlaps here. So I need to make it bigger. All right. So this is what you call a non-woven stabilizer, and it's a semi-permanent fusible. So it holds well enough to do the applique process, and then it does have some movability afterward, as we found out because I peeled it off after I ironed it on, which is why it gets soft after your quilts are washed. I'm not using the right scissors again. Ugh, it really shows. This is the next size down of her scissors, and see how every finger has a spot. I'm definitely not as good at cutting if I don't use her scissors. This lets me be really accurate. Interestingly, both directions too. So with other scissors, I usually like to cut with the line on the other sides of the scissor. Oh, this is just beautiful. So much easier. All right, that's it. Unless I do the same technique for that. It's the thing on top. But it doesn't look right till you lay it there. Okay, I have the fabric already chosen. I knew you all would like purple, so I did purple. What are we asking about? What product? Yes, Mary, it's the same glue. It's just got a new label. So if you already have my glue, it's another use for it. To stop fur from falling off. And once again, I'm using the needle turn technique for this. Frequently don't put my fingers in right, and then I regret it. You can hear the serration. just want to get it, make it smaller so I can handle it better on the camera. Did I make it too small? Ah! That's what I get for cheating. I was acting like I needed to make sure I didn't waste any of it, but there we go. Iron's still hot. Gotta love that. Shiny side goes to the fabric. And we have a stabilizer where that's the opposite, so that's why I say it, and I say it also for me when I use a stabilizer. You can use steam on Applique stabilizer. Do not use steam on Fuse and Fuse. Do not use steam on Hold Light. Hold Light is the one that the shiny side goes to the iron, but we're not using Hold Light right now, but we will be using Hold Light. And Hold Light is going to back the main body of the fabric. So in this lesson, I am using 3 stabilizers for the applique part, and then I'm going to use another stabilizer for the embroidery part, which is our stick and tear, which is no wonder you guys get frustrated with all these different products, but that does make a tremendous difference in the result that you get. Now I am going to needle turn to that point, and then I'm not going to needle turn here. I'm going to let that be tucked under the... Oh, wait, no. It's the different... Oh, I did it wrong. I'm making the brim purple. Did any of you know I was doing that? Oh, frustrating myself. It's not too late because I can do this. I need gray. Oh my goodness. 3 mistakes. Three rookie mistakes. Oh no, some of the fusing came off. I may not be able to do it. Do any of you see gray fabric up there? I do have this black. Maybe I should just use that. What do you think? It has little circles on it, so it will contrast the rest of the hat. The light's not very bright. I guess I don't buy much gray. It's just a wall hanging, Claire. I'm just going to use it, and hopefully this is enough fusing. I can use my liquid-based glue for that section. The most important part is the sewing, if this ever gets washed, which odds are I won't, because it's a decoration. All right. Fusible side, and I'm going to glue the spot that the fusing came off of before I iron. The stabilizer is still there, it's just that fusible webbing part is not. Almost done with the boring part. I really like the look of the gray, but I just don't have it. It's all right. Sometimes things just don't matter that much. We make them matter more than they really do. I could have 2 shades of purple, huh? I knew I was right though about this. This is going to go underneath the band. So I'm not going to turn there. I'm going to have it just go to that point. Because it'll be, shoot. Thinner. Not too late. Another mistake. Don't change your ideas midstream because then you mess up. Okay, one more try here. Well, I tell you what, it's really cool to know that you can remove that stabilizer and then iron it back down again. All right, 1/4 inch all the way around. Do not talk about something else when you're in the middle of cutting, for one thing. Glue on one paper. This is the glue side. Glue on the fabric, not on the stabilizer. Hey, Amy, can you grab me a glass of wine? I'm just making a joke. She said she'd be right back. If I had a glass of wine right now, I would not be able to talk. Once again, when you hold the tools, you hold them in the palms of your hand like that, not like this. The fork is like holding 2 fingers down on the fabric. This glue is designed for natural fibers, not for synthetics. So this one you can use on any fabric, as long as you can get it wet. This one is just for synthetics. I mean, just for natural fibers, not for synthetics. When in doubt, read what we have written on our website. This fabric a little stiffer than the other one. All right. So here where we have a concave, this is where we do need to snip a little bit. And I usually use the really little scissors for that. Which I don't know where I put those, because they're itty bitty and I love them, so I carry them around a lot. put the lid back on. Scoop, scoop. It's a lot easier on your hands than using your fingers. If you've done a lot of this before and you've used your fingers to kind of scoop the fabric up, it's, you know that you can get like Charlie horses in your hand from doing that. So this makes it so you can go for longer periods of time without getting sore. So if you've ever seen a quilt, and you're not familiar with what I'm doing right now, if you've ever seen a quilt that didn't have squared off pieces, that had more rounded pieces, like grapes and hourglasses and vases or bird wings, and it looks like the person pieced the fabric in that shape. This is the process that was used for creating those quilts, and afterward it looks like you cut the fabric. It looks like you cut a hole and then sewed the fabric into the hole. And in a moment it'll all make sense because I'm about to build this thing and get it sewing. Yay. What time is it? 2-hour mark. And what is the date? Today is September 30th, 2021. I try to say that when I'm on my live show for people who watch on the rewind. Because sometimes people watch the show and think we're live when they're watching it. So this part of the hat is going to be underneath the little purple piece. And it'll be easier for the sewing machine if I don't fold it under. And it's going to go over the kitty. I still have to cut the purple piece. I thought I already had it drawn. I think I do. We're done with the needle turn. Here it is. Couldn't find it. It gets hot. Now in this case, I'm not going to use these because I don't want to ruin that serration. And my stabilizer, this is the Fuse and Fuse, is a paper backed. These scissors, these are the Kai shears. They're pretty amazing. You can nearly destroy these and they still work really well. Okay, time to build our applique. And so it's going to be reversed because I deliberately did everything backwards to show how you could accidentally do it backwards. Make sure you have none of the fusible stuff laying down like that. It got ironed on there. Am I gonna get it? Oh no. Never have to apologize for being late. You're hand quilting. I got fusible on the outside of my main body of the fabric. So I'm trying to peel it off. At very least, I don't want to get my iron on it. Okay, let's build this cat. And I think instead of dealing with that, I'm gonna flip this over and use the other side and cut that away so I don't accidentally fuse on my iron that little bit. Now I just have to remember that I did that. I really loved this fabric. I believe I got it at Hobby Lobby. So it wasn't one of the more pricey boutiques. But I can't be sure because I just have so much fabric. I'm sure you all understand the dilemma. So always we want to find center when we're building something like this. Oh, I grabbed the wrong one. That's the one with the fusible. What a day. I love your name. Conquering Mount Scrapmore. It was just so cute. It's like right there with Better Days. Here we go. There I go again, going, here we go. Before I do this, I should be putting the hold light on the back. And hold light is the stabilizer on our site that has a hummingbird on the outside. So if you go to products and click on stabilizers and batting, and this is where you're going to find the bamboo batting as well. See how each one has its own animal? Cover up is the one that I drew the face on. That's going to make it so I can embroider through the fur, hopefully. We'll see how well it goes. And then the hold light is what I'm putting on the back of the fabric, and it holds the fabric. It's a very lightweight stabilizer, and it stops that fabric from getting puckered or having issues with the surface from manipulating it when doing applique or combining different weights of fabric, different types of fabric, can make the main body, the thing that you're building your applique design on top of, it will make it get all messed up and wrinkled. And so the hold light, we want to stabilize this fabric before we build our applique. And it is that hummingbird. This is the bamboo batting link, and down here is the Applique. I'm going to make a cute image for it because it doesn't look cute. This is the cover up. And I already drew that. Where did I do it? Oh well, it was the first one I did. So hold light almost feels like it's saran wrap or something. It's very thin, and that is not it. Where is it? This is the damp cloth that I always have ready, and I have a bottle of water in here, and I would normally get it wet, and I could have done that while I worked with the Applique stuff. Where is it? Here's some hold light. I recommend putting it back in the bag after you use some of it so you don't forget what it is, because you might just think it was a wrapper of something that you bought and toss it. And in this product, when we're working with it, we're actually going to have the shiny side facing the iron. And we need it to cover the area where the applique will be. It doesn't have to cover the entire back of that fabric. So that's about big enough. It's such a noisy product. There we go. You can see how quickly it bonds. You don't need to use a cotton setting. You can use a lighter setting. I also use this for pattern drafting. You can draw or trace over a pattern and then iron the pattern piece to your fabric and then cut your fabric out with the stabilizer attached. For fabrics like lame and taffeta, where the fabric just frays terribly. I've also used this, I've printed on it and embroidered a butterfly over it. Which I'll show you in a second. Make sure you iron the edges well so it doesn't start to separate. And this is a temporary stabilizer, or it is temporarily attached to the fabric. And anywhere you sew through it, it's then permanently attached to the fabric. So once again, I need to find center by folding. So the butterfly, the white t-shirt and the butterfly up there, that was embroidered because our stick and rinse is out of stock right now. It's one of the problems with the after COVID, getting the stick and rinse back in. Know that we have not forgotten that product. It's a very important one for our company. And I know that some of you are really frustrated that we haven't had it for a while. But the hold light I was able to use for printing and embroidery design. Time to take the paper off the kitty. And what I like to do to start this is take a straight pin and just kind of score it a little bit. You always want to remove this after it's completely cooled, because otherwise the stabilizer can reconnect to the paper if it's still wet. But you can see this has a nice full-bodied, complete coverage of the back of this fur fabric. I can't wait to see how I do. Probably going to have to use a foot to embroider the face. I'm not going to iron yet because I got to build this backwards. So my brain may struggle a little bit. So it goes like this. Right? Oh, it goes over the tail. So I'm going to cut the tail in half. I want one ear to show. There we go. Then this goes here. And the top of this is the back side of the hat. So this goes beneath that ear. See what I mean about building it backwards? Where's the top of the hat? Probably on the floor. I also got to find the cat face that I drew. This is not it. It was there. Sorry, guys. I made it out of that flag fabric. It's probably underneath here. Okay, it's not under there. Am I gonna have to cut another piece out? Amy, you really need to come and do this for me. Well, those of you who've been watching since the beginning know there is a cat face that I drew. This is when you sit there and go, I have not even stood up. So what I cut must be right here. Oh, there's the top of the hat. Now where's the face? Did I put it over here? Time to clean up some of this. I don't want to have to draw the face again. Not that it took that long. But first I'll finish laying out the kitty, because I need to applique the cat before I embroider the face anyway. All right, sewing room fairies, give me my cat face back. One time I did find it under my seat, or find something under me. Well, I may have to draw it again. All right, time to just clean up. So what do you have planned for Halloween? Are you going to be a candy giver? I have this cord to use to hang it on the door. I think that's going to be next week for sure. Does this happen to you guys? I hate to say it, but the older I get, the more often I'm saying things like that. I just had that. Where'd I put it? And you can't blame anyone when you're the only one in the room. You can't go, hey, what'd you do with that? It's amazing how much of a mess I can make in such a short period of time. I often don't buy small pieces of yardage. Early on, you saw something fall off with the iron. Which direction did it fall? I'm looking underneath the table and I don't see it. It's probably connected to all this fabric that I just throw in the corner until the show's over. It's going to show itself. It has to be here. You just get to see me clean up a little bit. It really is a bad habit to not put it away right away anyway. If I didn't know the feeling of every one of my stabilizers so well, then I would definitely put everything away and make you wait while I do it. This is Applique. Oh my goodness. Bizarre. By the way, if you were the one that asked me for the measurement for the faux piping binding, I am going to use the faux piping binding technique to bind this next week after we're done making it. Is it attached to the fur? It was attached to the fur. I found it. Yay. So there's the kitty face. So this is how we do it, Amy. You asked about how we're getting the kitty face on the fur. So I'm going to be embroidering it over the fur. For the first time ever, I'm going to be doing this with all of you watching. Okay. I drew the cat face the right way, which means this is wrong. It needs to be that way. Oh no, I have to draw it anyway. Draw it backwards. Let's see. Are you guys problem solving how I could do that the fastest? Do you know the approach I'm going to take? So it was 1.5 on the smaller piece that ends up being the piping one is 1 3/4, and the non-piping part of the binding is 1.5. There. So now I got to trace over this upside down, and I'll be able to see it and embroider through it. This is the way that we can embroider over something thick and fluffy. And I'm going to be using the glow-in-the-dark thread for this, you guys. I forgot I don't have to hold it still because I'm tracing on it. That's funny. It's amazing. I have a hard time turning this. I think it's the cord. That's what it is. I need them to make this the other way. Put the power on the other side. Change the entire design of your Cutterpillar light tablets for me, please. So these are going to be my whiskers. In order for whiskers to show up on the fur, they need the cover up as well. And it comes out of this starter pack that's got primary pack written on it. But we also sell these by the roll in each one of these colors. People that do a lot of embroidery buy them by the roll. All right. Now we have the face going the correct direction. Did I ever peel off the top of the hat? Oh God, I didn't just lose it again, did I? All that neatening and tightening up. Oh my God. Okay, be quiet, iron. Ay, 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 you guys. Maybe I should just stop today and have all the sewing next week. Are any of you yelling at me going, come on, please do some sewing? The hold light is not water soluble. Kim, if that's what you were asking about, the one that looks like cellophane. It's a permanent stabilizer, but it temporarily holds onto the fabric. And I don't know, or if you're asking about the white stabilizer, it's not wash away. It's a permanent. So it comes in colors and you embroider through it. And then when you wash a garment and take it out of the washing machine, it still looks the same as the day you embroidered it. It's wonderful on towels and minky and polar fleece, and great on baseball caps. It helps your embroidery lift up above the surface, and that's what we're trying to do here. We've got to get the cat's eyes to be on top of the fur, and this fur is 1/4 inch thick, so we'll see how this goes. And know that we're doing this free motion. This is not done with an embroidery machine, but the same principles apply. So I kind of wanted, I'm going to take it down just a little. So yeah, I'm going to have it be kind of centered like that. We need to iron the cat down. So what I do when I applique and I get all my pieces where I want them, I use our liquid-based glue to put them in position, especially on this cat. I'm going to have to iron upside down. So this is going to be tricky. The only way to iron the cat and have the fusible be reached by the iron is to flip it upside down. So I need to, in essence, get the cat in position before I actually iron so well that it can't move when I flip it over. And this will allow me to do that. So I like the cat's position. Feel like it's correct, maybe. Maybe I need to tip it up a little. I'll have you guys evaluate it as I do. So his feet come up at an angle. So this one's further away. So now I have that. This one's lower than that one. So without the hat, first just the cat. That sounds funny. Got to get this behind the ear though. Now this is not going to make it sticky in any way, even though it will glue and it'll become bonded to the fabric. It's temporarily bonded to the fabric. So I do little dots on the back side. Normally when I'm just doing a small layer of fabric, I only do a couple dots. But since this has got to be flipped upside down, and I don't want it to move. But before I do the cat, I really need to do the moon, because the moon also has to be flipped over. Whoops, no, don't get any on the outside of the fur. But if I did, I could just use a damp washcloth and wipe it right off. Spread it out. Lay it down. And this is just a real light brushing motion that I use. We don't want to push down against the glue and have the glue go into the fabric. I want to keep it between the layers. And we can wait for that to dry, but we can also iron it to dry. Move the kitty's head. I do this when I'm making a quilt as well. So I would fold the top of the quilt out and put little dots on the batting and then fold the top of the quilt over. So you don't have to pin or safety pin your quilts anymore. And you can see I'm not able to move it. It's staying. And now the kitty, the rest of the cat. Folded over kitty. Okay, so if the hat is tipped toward the tail, then the hat will be tipped toward the tail. This is the ear I need to get rid of, the ear closest to the tail. And I'm going to chop that ear off. Poor kitty. And if I can get rid of the tail beyond, like you see here. That also will help the sewing process. Does that look right, you guys? I have fur on my face, I think. Oh no, you know what it is that spider web I drew. I thought it was fur. Something seems off here. Come a little bit higher. See how much how far away I am here and how close I am there. How'd I do that? I really should just print the cat the other way for it goes up like that. So close. Why is it so close? Really doesn't matter that much. I probably took his tush and I probably tipped him too much that way. Still got to put the white in there. And get this behind the cat's ear. Okay, so that helps me to know where the tip of the hat goes. Now I'm positioned properly. There we go. Okay, so I need to glue those pieces in place as well, but I don't have to do them now. I can do this after I've secured the cat. And I'm going to do that and set it aside. Finish gluing the tail. This glue will not show through. And if any were there, you could just wipe it off. Because it's water-soluble stabilizer that's wet. That's all it is. I'm going to mute and sip some of my protein drink so I can get my brain screwed on a little bit better. I forgot to unmute myself. I was answering you, Conquering Mount Scrapmore with Brenda. So you're Brenda? All right. Time to glue the tail, and I'm going to do a little bit of about an inch at a time because it's out of control, so I don't get glue where I don't want it. Okay. I hope this works out. I prefer to impress you than to have you go, oh man, I'm glad she did that so I could see I should never try it. You won't have to squeeze your bottle this hard. My lid was off for like 3 weeks, so it's gotten a little thicker. That tail is very close to itself. Spread it out a little. And it's see-through, so you can't really see the glue. Even if it remains on the light color fabric like that. Do you think I can do it? Are you guys gonna do some betting? I think it's just the fur is making the tail appear closer than it really is. It's down, so I'm gonna glue this one down too. And the reason I'm waiting on the hat is because the fur might make the fabric shift. Steam does not work on Hold Light because it's a solid film. I am using a cotton setting right now. Okay, angels, make it work. You don't mind if I go till next week? If I get it all ready for next week, then boy, next week's gonna be easy for me because everything will be all done. So there's nothing fusible on that moon. It's just the liquid-based glue holding that fabric down. This does have a fusing, the black one there. So I'm going to make sure it's fused down and see if it cools. It's definitely fused. That worked, you guys. Right on. Okay, find the tip of the hat. Is that how I did it? It is a little close. It's the fur. It's okay. It's like if it's a little off, it's only going to be visible if somebody saw the pattern. But like right here, there's a lot of fur. I think I really put that in the wrong spot. There's the ear. I think I ironed that, or I made that piece wrong. Oh well. I'm gonna going to go partly over the eye, and you get to see the pink of the ear. That looks like it. And this is again needle turn applique, so there's nothing holding this fabric down. Nothing fusible. Time for another bottle. really wanted to try to do the embroidery of the face before in today. Does it seem a little insane to any of you, what I'm about to do? So the white, the sticking, the cover up tears away. You'll see when I actually do the embroidery. I have done something like it. This is why I do this. Just use a pin and kind of tear it. Have a damp washcloth handy when you're using the glue in this way, so you don't have to ball it up on your fingers. Come on. Okay, I got really quiet. That's like one of the longest times for me just to be quiet. Yes, this side does go towards the tail. You know what's kind of cool is if the hat isn't actually stitched to the cat right there. Ooh. I like it when I like something I did wrong. Well, I didn't really do it wrong, but sure seems like I cut that bigger than I should have. I did. Cut that down. Ah, why am I using my craft scissors? You guys won't be as challenged because you're going to have your pattern flipped the right way. Oh, this is so cute, you guys. Oh, I'm gonna get a good camera angle so you can kind of see it. So the hat is literally lifted up, so it did pull it all the way forward. And I should be able to just stitch it like down here and stitch it down there. If I do a top stitch first, if I backed that, if. So the point of gluing at this point is so that it doesn't move when I put the iron on it. This would be one of these things you could sell and make money off of, because people would think, wow, look at that. It's three-dimensional. The hat is sticking up. Be a good idea to use a pressing cloth if you're going to make yours with fur, so you don't melt the fur. That is one noisy iron, but I sure do love it. Okay, so the next step is to get it in the hoop for embroidery, and to position this so I know it's in the right spot. That hat will help hold that down. This is the part. This goes in the ear first. And this eye's going to go underneath the hat. I don't know if you guys can hear Tinkerbell sneezing or not. Poor thing. It's just a sneezy time for her. Cheek. I'm using straight pins again, another all right, get on there. This usually doesn't even need to be pinned on regular fabric, so it's just that it's fur. Does it seem scary to have pins on top where you're going to embroider? I think the nose is too far. That looks more like it. Nothing like working blind here. You think Tink's allergic to the cat? I think we have these like, there's just so much grass up here that, because it's rained so much this season. I would normally use the liquid-based glue and secure it like under a dot under the nose, and looks right. Too close. Looks right. I think I finally got it. Come on. This is so easy when it's not fur. All right, so I have to like check in with myself. Do I feel like I can embroider after going how many hours? 3 hours. To embroider on something using a technique I've never done. So for those of you who came in later, the pattern's going to give you the cat without the hat and the cat with the hat. Should you want to make this cat into something else. This is the smallest of the octi-hoops. And it's definitely big enough to embroider all of the elements without me having to rehoop it. So I'm going to do that because we want to use the smallest possible frame we can when we're dealing with such a thick fabric. I'm going to have to use a foot as well, which is not my favorite thing to do, but I'm going to try it without a foot and try it with a foot. To get the hoop ready, we use our stick and tear, and it's the stabilizer with the frog on it. Welcome back, Amy. Did you bring me a glass of wine? I'm making it sound like I drink wine all the time, and I don't. The older they get, the less wine I feel like drinking. I think I feel like I've drank wine a lot when I haven't. Like, what is her name? The girl that drinks wine. The Midnight Quilt Show. She's so funny. Come on, her name's escaping me. You guys list her name. I can't think of her name. Is it an Amy? Tink just sneezed loud and ran away. I wash her face a lot because I think she goes outside. She's so close to the earth, you know. So she probably gets the grass allergens on herself a lot. So now I'm peeling back one of the corners to separate the stabilizer from the release liner. And then I fold it back and crease it. You want to do this on a flat surface. I can't see from the position I'm sitting in. Then I stretch and rub and try to get it as centered as possible. It's repositionable, as you can see, so I can peel it off the hoop and put it back on the hoop. Definitely better to do this standing up and looking down over the top. What we're aiming for is not to have any wrinkles in the stick and tear. If you've ever had a problem with an adhesive back embroidery stabilizer, it wasn't ours. This one is fantastic. You can see there's no like wrinkles around the edges. Sounds like a drum. This is going to be a little bit challenging to get it just right. So this is the ear. If I put a pin through the ear, oh, there we go. Then we can make sure that that pin is within the area of the hoop. It'd be easier to use the next hoop size up. Okay. Now that is stuck to the hoop, to the stabilizer. And I'm going to use this color for the eyes. Do I have one open? Because we're almost sold out of some of these. I don't think I do. This is what's called the green color. So if you know that these areas are inside of the frame, in other words, the frame itself is sticking out past it, then you can't hit your needle on the frame because you are going to sew through that stabilizer. So this makes it less likely for you to break a needle. Using the lingerie thread and the bobbin in black. Although I should use white for this, because we don't want the black thread popping up to the top. And I have a bobbin already ready with the lingerie thread. That's taller. Feels like that's a little shorter. It's just an illusion. Could I have possibly wound a bobbin with the wrong bobbin? You can also match your thread. Use the same color and type in the needle and the bobbin if you like. When I take a bobbin out, I go like this and get the thread close to the side, and I just kind of pull, and then it holds the thread in the bobbin. That microphone out of the way. It's going to be so cool to see the glow in the dark thread. When I was thinking about making a spider, and making a spider that is designed to be between the front door and the screen door. So when you open the screen door, the spider like hangs, and because I have a screen door. Does that sound fun? I love pattern design. That is what I started with when I started sewing. I started designing skirts in middle school for all the other kids and made money selling them. This is a 40 weight polyester thread that is designed to glow in the dark, not to be confused with neon, which requires a black light. So this is also reflective and good for use on for like if you have someone that in your life that rides a bike at night, you could embroider something on the back of their shirt or do some stripes of satin stitching or decorative stitching on top of ribbon or something to create a glow in the dark outfit for riding your bike at night. All right, I'm going to take the presser foot off and I'm going to put on the free motion foot. Like, could I do it without it? I'm not going to even put myself through it because I know that the needle when it exits is going to be challenged, and I don't need to skip stitches just to show you that you'll skip a stitch in this case. And the needle, I'm going to use a 9014 universal, super universal needle because it has like a coating on it that makes it less likely to stick. And since we have so much in between the backing fabric and the vinyl on the outside, why would we put ourselves through it? So just trying to find my pack. There they are. I don't remember what I did last week. The tip of the needle is rough anyway. So I don't remember what we did. What did we do last week? Oh yeah, the pumpkins. I don't see how I could have damaged the needle doing that, so I probably damaged it the week before. The foot that I like to use for this is a free motion foot with the front is open, and it's not in there, which means it's probably in this drawer. It's so rare I use feet that are not creative feet. Show yourself, free motion foot. Oh, I may have stuck it in here. That would be wise. Was I wise? With all the sewing machines that I have probably 30 free motion feet, but where they are, in the drawer, probably. In my goodies in my drawer, we got a snap press, some pliers, some stick and rinse with a butterfly on it. Oh, another butterfly with stick and rinse, which is a wonderful product that we are going to get back in. And then I have a brush to clean the machine. Come on, show yourself. Here's the thing, I had the other machine on the table, and I take this foot out of the machine, so I always have it, and I did find it. Not too bad, considering we're on 3 hours and something. I had a feeling I was going to go long today. So this foot has an open front on it instead of a circle. It's a half circle. Take this machine's snap-on adapter off. Put it in there so I know where it is when I'm done. Tighten the needle with the screwdriver, not super tight, but at least tighter than finger tight. because this is going to bang on that needle bar and it can loosen the screw while you're in the middle of sewing. Has it happened to any of you? Have any of you ever had your needle bar loosen and the needle fall out in the middle of doing free motion? What does Amy win? This is my octi-hoops. I invented these for people, for y'all. I created the octi-hoops to stop people from injuring themselves doing free motion quilting, because people sit like this. So I came up with this, and I really wanted it for embroidery. When my dad invented the hoop it all, which is not sold anymore, I liked the science that he used for holding the fabric down. But what I did was come up with a hoop that holds the fabric better than any round hoop or any square hoop. That octagon shape is one of the things that makes it behave so well. And then it has little holes in the top of the frame that allows us to drop handles into, so that you can put it beneath the needle and actually rest your body and draw. Now this is going to be the most challenging of all of the embroideries I've done to date. So, and I'm doing it live with you guys. So if I'm going to have a problem, you're going to see the problem live, because I know it's better than watching edited videos sometimes. So the octi-hoop is under there. I'm thirsty is what that is. Let's see. Got a thread. A long thread. There we go. I always clear my area when using the octi-hoops. The hoop is designed to fit beneath the foot and beneath the needle. So I'll have you see as I do that. So it just slid right under the foot. I need to get to where I can see. Get the microphone out of my line of sight. Okay, so I'm going to do the eyeballs. And I have the handle in my hand, but I want it in the hole on the frame, like that, so that I can draw with the hoop. And when I sew with the cover up, the first thing I do is with an outline stitch. Lower the foot using a straight stitch. Reduce the tension 1 number. So mine's normal at 4 and bring it down to 3. It's that microphone. I need to use my magnifying glasses so I don't have to get as close. Try to keep the mic close so that you can hear me. Okay, so basically I'm just going to trace around the shape of the eye, and I didn't finish drawing this eye. Whoops. All right, everybody take a deep breath. Needle up, or do 1 stitch, bring your bobbin thread up, and it's cut too short. And my machine is designed to hold on to the thread, so I don't really need to bring it up. But you could bring your bobbin thread up if you need to. Drop the feed dogs on the sewing machine if you have the ability to do so. I don't frequently lower mine. I just happen to remember this time. So I'm stitching around, tracing within the line that I've drawn there. And this is the green, so what you see around the green is supposed to be another shade of like darker gray or black. So then I do what I call cross hatching. I just kind of go back and forth. And that's to secure that cover up to the actual fur in this case. And now I'm going to move the hoop in a side to side motion. And the reason I'm doing that rather than doing a bunch of small stitches is because the fur is so thick. So we're covering more area with fewer stitches, and you're actually going to be able to see more thread. I hope you can see well. So I didn't check the camera angle. So big stitch, and I am the stitch length. And I have the machine running really slow, which is definitely advisable when you're doing this particular technique. But I'm going way slow. My foot control is in a weird place. Okay, there we go. Can you guys see that? Am I blocking you? I can't see with my reading glasses on this monitor. Okay, I can go faster than what I was doing. You want to maintain the same stitch direction. And this hand is just, I'm not really needing it to steer or anything. But my natural posture when I write or color or draw or trace is left hand supports the paper and right hand writes. If you're left-handed, you probably do the opposite. You have your right hand supports the paper and your left hand draws on the paper. And you hear that plucking sound? That's me going over an area more than I need to. So now I'm going to hop over to the other eye. But before I do, I'm going to flip it over and see, did I cover the area well? It's harder to see when there's a foot on. And we have 8 holes on the frame, so I can use different. I have all this stuff in front of my machine. Bad habit. Whoops, oh, there goes the handle on the floor. You want to make sure you covered it, especially with this fur. This is when an edited video is better because I can move the camera around. When I'm live, I'm kind of stuck with where they are. Okay, now I'm going to hop over to the next eye. Switch to another hole that keeps my elbows down and I'm comfortable. And I had the stitch direction go towards the tear duct on the other eye, so I'm going to do the same thing on this. Trace around again to anchor the hold light. Elbows down, shoulders relax. I can see a lot better on this one. Oh, you might not be able to though. Get my hand out of the way. I don't know how well you guys can see. You can see? Good. You have the 24-inch hoop at all? There's a bunch of people that would be happy to steal it from you. Trying not to lift up the fabric, which I just cut the thread with the needle, which is sitting in one spot too long, mostly because I looked where I shouldn't. So I need to rethread the needle. Always make sure you raise the foot when threading the needle. if you ever get loops on the bottom, it's probably caused by you not raising the foot when threading the machine, or leaving the foot up and trying to sew with the foot up. The tension discs open and then the thread just falls to the bottom. And it creates a mess, and people call it the bird's nest. How could I stop before I did the face? I just couldn't do it to you. I want to see it anyway. I'm curious to know how well this works on fur, as it being the first time. I'm definitely not as good with the foot at seeing where I'm going. That song Crazy is playing in my head right now. Crazy. I am a little crazy. I'm brave. I'm brave, right? Do something like this when people are watching me live for the very first time. I want to put some pink in to do the pink places, since I have the white bobbin thread in right now. Using the glow-in-the-dark thread again, if I can find the pink. Do you guys see it? See the pink? Oh, there it is. Hi, Tink. Oh, Tink came. She thought I said Tink. I said pink, and she came. You know what? I used to not need glasses nearly as much, and now I have them everywhere. Some stations where I work, I have 3, just in case I misplace 2. Where are my tweezers? They have the thread coming through the plastic so that you can grab it and use it to pull the plastic off. I did not see that on the last spool, so I don't know if it's just an accident this time or if it's something that they're trying. It does kind of like then it tears the plastic. I think it works as long as you don't have a sticker. Interesting. Definitely a first time I've ever seen that on any of the spools. We're making a Halloween thing. There we go. Nothing's going wrong though, so am I brave, or is everything just really scientifically sound and it works really good? Isn't that pretty? Definitely has a Halloween feel. That's what's going to look like, the eyes, once we remove the cover up. Oops. Whew, getting hot, getting hungry. I was already hungry. So since it's fur, should I put white around the, I don't know. I wish they had another color for another darker color for glow in the dark. I guess it's not something that would work. Hi, Chase. I know. Mommy went past the 2 hours. He just walked around me and went, ugh. I make their dog food now. And there's no fillers in it. So he's hungry when it's time to eat, and he eats at 6. So it's not too long from dinner time. I think he's just reminding me that he's there. Okay, I'm going to do the ear. It's my chance to make sure since it's connected to the rest of it, it's kind of pulling. So I'm going to cut some of it off. Let's see. It needs to go where it's supposed to. All right, let's see how this goes. Drop the foot. Oh, Tinkerbell's making noise over there. They gang up on me, you guys. It's really going to be them that makes me stop. Straight stitch the whole time. Get that out of there. Trying not to get that hat stitched in there. I don't know if you can even see, because I can't see much of anything. So I'm doing the outline, and since that wasn't pinned at all, I'm going slower. Don't want it to start to buckle. I'm going to use my fingers, but I could have just pinned it again. Oopsie. So it slipped. But here's the thing, it's not like people know what it's supposed to look like. Going around again, it's just really thick right here. It's a lot of fur. I can't see. That's what my problem is. There we go. We got more than one layer now of the cover up. Got it folded over. I'm going to cut some of that. Don't want to cut the fur. Get out of the way. I'd be fine if I didn't have a microphone and this light in front of me. In addition to the fur raising it up, making it harder to see. And that part of the hat. My hand out of the way. You can't probably see because the fur is thicker than this area. It's back there. You'll see when we're facing when I cut it. But I'm gonna move the mic and be quiet for a minute while I do it right. I don't usually need to get this close. I'm having to look over the mountain of the fur. Remember, this is 1/4 inch thick fur. This is not minky or some thin velvet. It is literally so thick. Ooh, that did not sound good. Do some gigantic stitches. That's another neat thing about the octi-hoops is I can do really, really long stitches by simply moving the hoop, going really slow with the machine and moving the hoop further with each stitch. And the octagon shape makes the fabric taut, so your thread does not break the needle. But if it was a round hoop or a square hoop, I would be more likely to break a needle doing something like that. All right. Pretty sure I got enough stitches to tear it. Time for the nose. Okay. What is pulling? Oh my gosh, the thread is not threaded on the thread dispenser right. Or here. What's going on? Well, it shouldn't even have sewn just now, you guys. Come on, get under the foot. Okay. Well, I hope you can see. So the idea is to do short stitches all the way around the perimeter so that when you go to tear it away, it tears away. Now I'm going to do side to side stitches up and down on the nose. You guys will have no trouble doing this if you don't use fur. Slow down, big stitches. So in essence, I'm using my machine and making it do a zigzag stitch, even though it's just a straight stitch. I'm being the zig and the zag and the zig and the zag. And this makes the nose stick out further because I'm using long, exaggerated stitches. And it's getting thicker and thicker. Okay, so now I need to do black thread or make the whiskers. I'm going to pull it out so you can see, and then so you can see that the fur is completely covered because the white cover-up is covering up the fur. And I mean, I could keep going right now, but I really feel I'm feeling a little shaky, like I need to eat. So, is it mean of me to wait until next week to finish this? But I'm really hungry, and I was bad about eating today because I was so excited about doing this. But what do you think? I mean, all in all, you guys can now get to this point and get your goodies set up, and I am going to work on the pattern throughout the week. I promise not to touch it until next week, except for I am going to put the brim of that cat hat back down so it doesn't get too deformed. So with that, I think it's time to bid you adieu until next week. Do any of you have any questions? Oh, you know what? I'm going to get something really quick here. Hi, puppies. I know. You guys look so sad. You look so sad. Watch out. Here we go. Watch out. Ouch. Ta-da! This is the bunny that goes on the basket. And this is a lesson that you'll find in the Creative Notions playlist on my channel. This is a casserole dish for Easter. Isn't it cute? And his little feet and toes and the ears, and all of this was done free motion in the octi-hoops, like you're seeing me do there. The cover-up was covering up the minky fur, and this is much thinner and easier to work with than the real fur that I am currently making this cat from. So I have not yet released the pattern for the bunny part. And isn't it cute how his arms wrap around and his little feet stick out? So if any of you have made the basket already, know that this will be another pattern that will be available in the school. And I'll probably be teaching this. I may teach that in a pre-recorded type style, or maybe one of the lives. And it's similar to what you're seeing me do now. Looks like the bunny's on a swing. It does, huh? Well, I had fun dressing up a little bit pre-Halloween-y. And thank you so much for joining me this Thursday and every other Thursday, as this is our Fabrically Speaking live show that airs every Thursday Mountain Standard Time. Next week, I will complete this and show you how we can applique with yarn around the fur and other ways of securing the rest of the material or the pieces that we've got down. This is covering several different methods of applique, and if I could have done it all today, I would have, but I can't. So we accept that. And if you like what you've seen, go ahead and hit that like button. If you've yet to subscribe to my channel, I sure hope you'll do so today. And after I end the video, if you can hit a thumbs up after the live chat ends underneath the video, that would really help the algorithm and help YouTube know that you enjoy our show. And I will see you next week. And I will also see you in the school, create.clarerowley.com. All of the links for the things that you see me use here in my videos will be in the description below once this live airing ends, which is ending now. So thank you guys for watching. Mwah. See you next week. Bye.